Throughout the years, Kathleen Kennedy has caused nothing but trouble with the sequel trilogy movies, especially with The Last Jedi. Let's not lie about this. It has been by far one of the most controversial Star Wars projects in existence, let alone probably one of the most controversial movies in pop culture history. Now, we already know that Kathleen Kennedy has caused more division within the fandom based on the Kenobi series and Boba Fett, and even, of course, how she handled some of the lore pieces and the canon aspects of the franchise. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new, and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, there's a lot of things happening between Kathleen Kennedy, John, Dave, and George, and given that the Disney executives and the board have been very and extremely unhappy with Kathleen Kennedy's performance over the Acolyte and Skeleton Crew, and how they are intentionally shifting away from George Lucas's treatment of Star Wars. That's basically the main concern, is how those two projects are going to have a lot of retcons toward George's treatment of the franchise, his philosophy of Star Wars, and everything related to that. And that brings us to what recently happened between the executives and the board, and how this does concern the Star Wars fandom, and how it does involve Kathleen Kennedy's time over at Lucasfilm. So we're going to be going over every single bit of all of this that is going to be quite concerning to the fans. I hope you guys are holding on to your, selves right now, because this is something that I think a lot of fans are not ready for just yet. So let's tap right into this. Now, the thing about all of this is that given that Lucasfilm recently announced many new Star Wars projects, including Star Wars films, more of which will be unveiled, by the way, later this year. However, it's described that currently behind the scenes, Disney executives are beginning to argue with other executives about the Kathleen Kennedy firing plan, and how they feel it's unfair to fire Kennedy so soon from Lucasfilm. Some of the executives have been pitching proposals to the board about giving Kennedy a last chance. That if she succeeds with Indy 5 and it becomes a huge hit with great fan reception, that she should be able to stay at Lucasfilm, at least for the remainder of her contract. Scarily enough, of course, this is something that the board is now beginning to consider, however has not made final just yet, and they are beginning, of course, to bring it up to Bob Iger. The deal for Kathleen Kennedy right now is that if Indy 5 succeeds past Disney projections at the box office and has a high fan acceptance margin, that they are considering to keep Kathleen Kennedy under her contract officially until it expires by 2024. This is just a proposal right now, but the board is beginning to get somewhat convinced that they may give a bad impression to Indy fans if they fire Kennedy after a potential Indy success. So let me stop right here for 1 second. Now, that right then and there makes no sense to me, because let's face it, Lucasfilm is basically stopping everything Willow, everything Indiana Jones after Indy 5, of course, and they want to focus strictly on Star Wars, and that's it. Now, Indy 5, alright, the actual spin-off series, the Indiana Jones series, not to be confused with the Indy 5 movie, the Indiana Jones series has been shelved, cancelled over at Lucasfilm. It's not happening, it's not moving forward, it hit a major brick wall, and it's likely to go nowhere. Does that really spell a recipe for disaster for Indy 5? Who knows? But it does spell some kind of sign that Kathleen Kennedy's actual creative involvement in this project may very well lead to a part where fans of the Indiana Jones franchise may not be happy about. Now that brings us to what this really means. Number one, this is just a proposal, alright, but this is very alarming and concerning to fans. This means essentially that there is a potential chance that Kathleen Kennedy could at least stay at Lucasfilm for one more year until her contract ends, depending on if this proposal passes to allow Kathleen Kennedy to stay if Indy 5 becomes a success. However, even if it does end up being that, she won't be staying past 2024. They want her to stop when her contract ends and get Dana Brunetti on board regardless. So, on to the next thing about all of this that gets a little bit more concerning is that Though Lucasfilm has pitched and canceled the Indiana Jones series back and forth, and also canceled the Willow show, since they only want to focus on Star Wars now with their Star Wars movies and shows. This should not even be a discussion between the board and executives in fear of offending Indy fans. With Indy 5 releasing this June, with some reshoots that recently occurred, it's still possible that the film will underperform based on the creative struggles Kennedy has with the movie. Even if the proposal, like I say before, comes to pass, there's still a chance for Kennedy's firing if Indy 5 fails. Disney is getting ready to make this decision by this May on if they want to give Kennedy one last chance to prove herself with Lucasfilm. In the meantime, Dana Brunetti is still standing by to take over as president of Lucasfilm, being, of course, the top candidate and all, and the top choice by Disney. Again, this is something for fans to worry about because most of us, do not like Kathleen Kennedy's presence when it comes to Star Wars. Now, regardless, if she does end up staying, she's not going to have all that much creative power. She will have some kind of control, but she won't have all that much creative power at all. Now, we already know that by contract, she has a couple of other projects that are in limbo that she could reignite if she does prove success with Indy 5, so again, this is like a spider web of controversies over at Disney and Lucasfilm right now. There's so many different avenues that this could go, and it really just makes you wonder exactly what's really happening. Now, obviously Indy 5's trailer yesterday, some fans liked it, some fans did not like it. It really depends. I always like to bring this up. The Last Jedi trailers and the TV spots were phenomenal, but the movie itself, not so great. So just think of that for a moment there. You know, if you guys like that Indy 5 trailer, that's fine and all, but it never truly shows you the execution of the movie, how it's paced, how it's acted, how it's just organized and delivered. That's never going to be told in a trailer. A trailer is literal marketing. It's to get you into the theater, and that's always the intention by movie studios, whether they want to be snaky or not. So, anyways, guys, this is a very interesting thing, and it's a very recent development between Disney executives, the board, being very worried about their image to Indiana Jones fans if they canned and axed Kathleen Kennedy after an Indy 5 success. They feel that they would look like horrible executives and board members if they did that after such a big hit. And this is exactly why this proposal is moving a little bit forward. So anyways, guys, I'm very intrigued to hear what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments. I think that everybody should really know about this. It is concerning to the fandom, and it really makes you wonder, where this is going to go for Star Wars now. We obviously know that John and Dave are taking over many portions of Lucasfilm. That's great and all. They have a lot of privileges now, and that's also great. But Kathleen Kennedy's presence is never something that the fans really want. And so, guys, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Night to moon, we hear them moans again.